Welcome back to a brand new video. We're not on the golf course, we are in the gym. So I know for a fact that every single golfer wouldn't say no to adding a little bit of speed, right? No one would say no to that. So me and Nat are going to talk today about how you, yes you, for a fact, can add some speed to your golf swing. Right, Nat, I want to talk posture because it's probably one of the most overlooked by 99% of golfers.
Yeah, for sure.
But we don't realise how, when we're stood to this golf ball and how we start our golf swing, actually has a massive impact on then how we turn, how we move, how we create speed.
Absolutely.
So let's talk through sort of some of the bad habits that I see as a golf coach and then you see here in the gym. So C posture. So what is C posture? How would that affect us?
So C posture is essentially excessive curvature of the upper spine. So from the side view, it looks a bit like a letter C. So you've got this bend. So if I'm sort of set up to this being the golf ball here, what you typically see is this kind of real hunch position like this. Sort of chest compresses in. We get this big like hunch back through the top of the spine. And the hips have sort of tucked underneath us a little bit. Typically, you see it in taller people because they often have trouble sort of sinking into the hips a little bit more. That's what we class as typical C posture.
What would that do to the golf swing? Because I know when I always meet people for the first time, like you may have a desk job as well. Like I've asked somebody that say someone that has a physical job or a desk job. A lot of people who have a desk job tend to be like this. And how is that then going to impact on you being able to swing this club as fast as you can?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to point out, first of all, I think the majority of the population has become very, very much more hunched and C posture over time because of, you know, daily life and this sort of modern lifestyle we live. A lot of work from home, a lot of desk jobs, like you say, people sat, and over time you get more and more like this and you don't realise. So then when we're coming to play golf, what we're asking our body to do is create width and rotation and turn, and a lot of that turn is created from this rib cage area. So through the spine, through the ribs and the musculature that surrounds our upper body, they're really sort of coiling our body round into the backswing and then releasing that into the downswing. So naturally what we do in C posture is kind of restrict the amount of turn that should be therefore available. So if I set up to the ball like this, you know, and I'm trying to turn, well, all of a sudden my elbow can't fold because I'm kind of in my own way. I'm very compressed and everything's really tense, and at best, I'm probably going to get to here. And if we were looking down the line of that, you'd be thinking, where is that club going? So not just I've thrown my club path off and therefore the club face that impact as a result, but it's very difficult because of the excess tension and position to therefore create that speed and power we want as a golfer.
So, I mean, I think I've definitely learned something there, and you are as well. And when you're going through this, maybe just write some notes down on these points and what posture do you fall into, because by the end of this video I was going to give you a few quick points of how you stand to this golf ball better and then therefore swing it faster. Okay, so the next sort of posture that I see, and this is like what I think of, like if I was a golfer, you got to stick your bum out. You got to stick your bum out.
The classic stick your bum out,
literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that we call that S posture, right?
This is S posture, and this is a curvature of the lower spine. So typically from the side, we start to see this bit like a duck butt position here, where we get this dip in the lower back. It becomes very compressed and quite painful over time if you're in that position a lot. And this is essentially the opposite curve to the upper spine.
So it looks something like this.
Yeah, exactly, like a reverse C. Yeah. I think it's important, though, it's possible to have both at the same time. I have seen players where they're curved here and they're also tucked to the bottom.
Feels like me.
And then you've got double the workload to do, basically. But what we're seeing then is this affecting more of the pelvis, so the hip rotation particularly. So if we're in this S posture here, what I've done is sort of dump my pelvis forwards to the floor, compress the bones of my lower back. Everything's become very tight and very restricted. And what we typically see in these golfers is when you ask them to make the opposite movement, this tuck under, they go this like, oh, that's so nice. Like they're getting this stretch through their lower back where this is just tight all the time. But again, from a speed perspective, because that's what we're looking at, if I dip my pelvis here and I'm trying to rotate through my hip, all of a sudden I've blocked myself out a little bit.
And we know the hips in the golf swing play a massive, massive part of, in the backswing, loading up that power, but then in the downswing, bringing in that power.
Exactly, and one of the roles of the hips has to be to turn right and to turn left, whether you're a right-handed golfer or a left-handed golfer. Obviously, we'd be just doing that the opposite way around. But if I can't fully turn to the right, so I can't fully load my backswing, then it's very difficult for me to fully load into the downswing. If you think about it as throwing a tennis ball,
Yeah.
if I threw a ball like that, it's not going to go very far. Whereas if I launched it all the way from here and then released it, I've got all this stored energy to use in the release versus this, half an action. And that's kind of what's happening a little bit with the postures we set ourselves in naturally, is if we're not setting ourselves up athletically and sort of priming ourselves ready to hit the ball, it's very difficult to hit it hard, fast, and therefore long.
I mean, the thing that I sort of talk to people on the golf course is about like a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Or something like American football, like going to tackle somebody, you're
Absolutely.
ready.
Ready position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like this, or you wouldn't be like this. We'd be sort of in a ready position, ready
Yeah.
to go.
I think one of the common examples I use a lot is sort of if someone was serving at you in tennis and you were waiting for that ball, you wouldn't stand like that waiting for it.
No.
You see they're kind of
You're not
right
seeing me
down,
play
like
tennis,
Serena Williams, someone like that would be right down because
Yeah,
they're in the position there to get to
Sure.
the ball as quickly as possible. And that's kind of the same thing in golf, is that we want to set up to the ball consistently in a position where all our sort of joint angles are ready to be used to their optimum.
Fab. Okay, it's now time to talk to you about how you, with every single club, can get into this perfect posture. So if we want to practice this and we want to improve, what some simple things we can, one, do at home, but then also if we're going to the range tonight, which some of us might be, what can we do on there?
Okay, so simple posture checks that you can do at home. So you can do this with or without the club. I've just got the club, so I think it's a bit easier to see sometimes. So at home, if you've got a mirror, I'd recommend standing side on. You can see yourself in the mirror here. And what we're looking for, first of all, is let's find where your natural golf setup is. So have a look, set up as if you're going to play a shot. And are you here? Or are you in that S? Or are you actually in the middle? Because if you're in the middle, that's great. We don't need to do anything from there. But let's say we're in S or we're in C. All we need to do to try and find that neutral is kind of over-exaggerate one or the other and find the middle ground. So from here, I'm going to go excessively into that C posture, excessively into that S posture, and then just find what I think is the middle in between the two, which is somewhere about here, and that should leave me neutral, ready to hit my shot from there.
Fab. So we could literally do that 2 or 3 times a day at home, couldn't we? Just keep checking it and seeing
and
where
that's
we're
the
at.
thing, it's just reps, it's just practice, having a look into the side of the mirror. Where do you sit naturally? Are you in that S, are you in that C? And if you are, find excessively one end, excessively the other end, and then just find that middle ground, and that's where we're at for neutral.
And would you say the same with driver?
Same with every club in the bag.
Fab, perfect. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have some fitness stuff twice a month here on the channel to give you a little bit of an insight of how to improve your body and generally improve your golf swing. Let's swing it faster. Cheers, guys.